Are you accepting your flaws? Are you accepting your flaws? Thing about flaws is that there are always things that we might not like about ourselves. The looks, expression, voice, height, weight, nose, anything. You know what? The financials, how much money you have, could also be perceived as a flaw. But the thing about the flaw is that the biggest problem about it is the way we feel about it. Because the feeling takes us down. It takes us down. And so when there is a flaw in our perception, this imperfection is not making us feel good. And therefore, it takes us down, and it can influence the whole day, week, year, or whole life. I mean, I'm going to give a very harsh and provocative example, but this is the one that I'm having right now in my mind. Handicapped people suffer a lot because they are not accepting their flaws and something that happened to them. And this not acceptance is what's making the biggest problem in their lives. Because this is the change that has already, I know I'm talking about a very provocative and harsh thing, I know. But let's be honest. The biggest suffering comes not from losing hand or leg or something else. It's a psychological thing. It's a thing about being a martyr, being a victim of the obstacles, of the situations, of life. It's a psychological damage that puts them in a position where they can no longer enjoy life because they are damaged. But in reality, damage is just a label. Because we all know these kind of examples of handicapped people that are actually accepting themselves and enjoying life. It's rare, but it's happening. And we can see how much success they can gain in their lives when they are not perceiving themselves as victims, when they're not perceiving themselves as someone who's here to suffer. Because this thing about suffering and depression and is something we can all share. Whether we are handicapped or not, we are all handicapped psychologically because there are always these kind of situations and times when an imperfection is influencing our mood, and it seems so natural, like how else would you live? How else would you live? I mean, these are eternal questions. Because it's hardwired into our brain to dislike certain things. And when we dislike them, we either try to change them to the better, which is a good thing, probably. or we neglect them and reject them. But this process of seeing imperfection and then trying to perfect it, it sounds like, it looks like a great thing, but what if you are spending your whole life like that? Like certain people, when they are consistently seeing imperfections in themselves, and therefore they're consistently trying to improve themselves, and therefore they spend their whole lives not actually enjoying who they are. And this sense of it's not just imperfection, it's about feeling like you're the sense of being no one and not being worthy enough of, is influencing their whole everyday sense of state of being, that is making their whole life shitty, despite how much money they have, and despite how good how well they look, because they could be really good looking and still seeing themselves imperfect. And so on one hand it can look like something inspiring, like, oh, this is a very beautiful creature, but still seems and looks at herself like imperfect. Huh? I mean, it's truly a eternal question. I'm thinking about it right now. What do you think? Because this dissatisfaction on one hand is something that pushes us forward. It could be dissatisfaction about our own looks, it could be dissatisfaction about the way we express ourselves, it could be dissatisfaction about the place where we live at, for example, right? So we're trying to improve this place. At the same time, this dissatisfaction is what destroys our life. And then the most dangerous and horrible question arises on our mind. Well, what, I'm gonna be satisfied with everything I have right now? I don't know the answer, to be honest. I don't know the question, I don't know the answer. Stop looking at me. I don't know. And to be honest, I don't want to know. I'm just always thinking about all these things in correlation to money and to the overall level and quality of life that you might have and I might have, because all these things are interrelated, they're all interconnected. That's what's interesting, that's what's stimulating my brain cells and whatever is there. I don't know what's there. Something not really smart, to be honest. If I can't if I can't solve this puzzle. I think it is an eternal question because it's an eternal process. And because this is an eternal process, we shouldn't really be so much harsh about ourselves in the whole process, because it's eternal. Doesn't matter how much you're going to improve. There's always going to be a lot of space and a lot of things to improve further. Because the moment you improve something, you get to the place where you can improve this improvement. That's why it's eternal. So it's not about how much you improve. It's about how much you enjoy the process. See? I'm not that bad after all. Something still exists in my brain. It's about how much you enjoy the process. If you you spend a whole life enjoying making some kind of minor and major changes in your own face, good for you. You enjoy it. If you don't enjoy, good for you. You don't enjoy it. Because this process is eternal. It's not about the result, it's about the process itself. And if you are not have enough money, therefore you are not having enough resources. Resource could not be just financial thing, could be energetical thing, logical thing, intellectual thing, like the thing that I don't have. So if you don't have a lot of resources, you would still enjoy the process. Because again, it's not about what kind of results you get in the end. It's about the whole process of the fact that you have finally figured out how to do something minor after 10 years of experiments. And this could be a very big improvement. I don't know, I don't like to say inspirational.